So before we begin, I would like to introduce the assembly and our wonderful speaker team. So the assembly, we are a smart lab and a makerspace based out of Dubai. We have been doing free workshops for the past 8 years, and we've had over 350 of them. So since being founded in 2014, we had a mission of building a collaborative tech community in Dubai. Now, our workshops are a variety of different topics, but the three main ones are code, which consists of workshops like software, we work with APIs, frameworks. For these workshops, all you need to bring is your computer and code along with us. Then we have hack workshops, which we work on embedded systems, IoT, and usage of hardware devices like the Arduino, Raspberry Pi. For these workshops, we provide the hardware for you, and again, we work together. Now, we also have data science workshops where we work with artificial intelligence and machine learning. But overall, we cover topics like IT, robotics, 3D printing, AR, VR, cloud computing, and so much more. Our audience members are students, they are professionals, they are entrepreneurs. We focus on smart technology and practical applications, and we want to help you learn something new, build something new, or even just grow and expand on your own knowledge. Now, you can find us on social media platforms like Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Make Smart Things, which is also our mission statement. And we're actually live streaming this workshop, and you can find it on our website at theassembly.ae. You can also check out our YouTube channel as well. Now, I'll have Nadia introduce our speakers. So Nadia, come on up.
All right. So Reim el Houni is the CEO of a group of video hacks called Elemental, which are award-winning video production company Ti22 Films Dubai ON. She's also the CEO of Dubai ON, with a world of thought leaders and influencers to live video content. Reem also spends a great deal of her time teaching, consulting, and running workshops in video content creation through a coaching program and courses at the DIY Video Academy. Today, she will show you how entrepreneurs can reach the right audience and attract new opportunities. So please welcome Reem.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Amazing. This is an interactive session. I want to be hearing from everyone here. Everyone online, hello. I'm going to try and remember you, to be honest. It's very difficult with cameras, but we'll do our best. So, who is excited for this morning's session?
All of us.
Awesome. Hello. Yes. Hi.
Does it follow you?
See how excited the camera is.
Okay.
Yes, pretty good. Awesome. So thank you so much for the introduction. I'm very excited to be here with the assembly. I'm going to jump right in. So number one, this is for you. If you have a wealth of knowledge in your head, I'm sure how to use it to attract your audience. That's possibility number one. You know you could be attracting more new opportunities than you currently are. You've been told you need to start a video. Anyone here been told they need to start a video? That's a common one. Maybe a little too shy to get on camera. Does that feel like you? I see some nods, okay. You feel overwhelmed. It's like, no, I don't have the time to do this. Is that you? Also silent people, folks. This is an interactive session. So which one are you? Are you number one, unsure to use your knowledge? Two, want to attract new opportunities? Three, being told to start with videos? Four, overwhelmed all the time? None of the above? You just hear, you're curious. All of the above. Anyone else? All of the above. Great. So hopefully we're going to have some answers for you today. What I want to focus on today is how to build your visibility by leveraging your knowledge, because whatever industry you're in, video is a tool that can help you grow. How to attract new opportunities through your content. This is a key thing for everyone to understand. How to get started with videos, how to plan, and save more time. Just to give you a quick overview, I'm going to spend the first 45 minutes doing a bit of a presentation. I'm going to say a little bit about myself. I'm going to explain how video can help you. Then we're going to move into a bit more of a practical session, where I'm going to help you work on a script. And we're going to build something, but we're going to do it on your phone. So, but at least we'll get going for that. So, what is a personal brand? Whether you know it or not, you have a personal brand. Now, what do I mean by a personal brand? Anyone want to chip in? Yeah.
Personal brand could be just, it doesn't have to be like creating, and maybe it's just simply, you can be your own personal brand. So, essentially, for content creation, for example, streamer or gamer, you can make your own personal brand, build your own channel, your own name, your own identity. from that to merchandise, to community, to analytics.
I love it. You've got a whole plan set out. The key word mentioned for those of you online is building your identity, right? So I think what is the one thing I want you to think about is what is the first thing you do when, I don't know, maybe some of you did it when you heard my name, when you saw a speaker come in, when you're about to meet someone. What's the first thing you do?
Yeah, you Google it.
You Google it. That's the first thing you do, right? Everyone Google. Oh my. Okay, we're jumping ahead a little bit. It's all right. Right. First thing you do is Google it. And I came across this quote recently. I'm going to read it. Do you want to allow your online reputation to take on a life of its own, or do you want to control the narrative? So it's become essential for everyone to embrace personal brand. So we've already mentioned that you have to Google your, personal brand is what you find when you Google. You've mentioned it's about building your identity. This quote came from Forbes magazine. So I find that super interesting because it's become so important for entrepreneurs, CEOs, startups, everyone to really start embracing the power of social media, the power of video, to build their identity. So that when someone Googles you, they find, what you want them to see. You want to build your own identity, right? So, interesting question. Any guesses, the percentage of people who are more likely to do business with a company if they're following the CEO on social media? I want some guesses. They're more likely to work with you if they're following you. 70%? My friend over here, what is your guess? Above 90%, 70% above 90%. What are the guesses here?
Yeah, we're also like 70 between 80%.
70, 80, 80. Our new friend over here.
Between 70 and 80.
You're all very high. And I'm not going to ignore our fabulous support team. 70, you're all spot on. 77%. To me, that's amazing. Like, think about it. 77% of people are more likely to do business with you if they're following you on social media. That's crazy, which means that social media, the way I see it, social media is not like, as a time pass thing. It's not like it's a business development tool. For me, social media is a business development tool, and I need to think about how do I want to position myself, how do I want to build my identity, because 77% of people are going to work with me if they're following me. Right? So hopefully that shifts it a little bit in your head about the importance of doing this. Oh my God, we're racing ahead again. But if this is you and you're thinking, oh, I'm already overwhelmed. This is just too much, I can't take it. Or you're like, you know what, I get it, but I don't want to put my face out there. I'm too shy for this stuff. Or it's the technology. A lot of people, it's the technology that overwhelms them, right? Or it's just too many things. This is nowhere near your priority list. You put it all the way down at the bottom. I want this to end today. Right? You're going to discover just how simple and easy it can be to get started and how to develop a video content plan. That's what I want us to look at. So for a moment, I want you to imagine that you've waved a magic wand and all of your content is done. Just imagine everything is organized for you. You're standing out from the crowd because that's the key. You want to stand out with your content. You're super confident on camera. You've got loads of time to spare, right? That's all possible, right? And hopefully, I'm going to ask you this question at the end and see how we feel. Why do I feel like I'm equipped to help you with this? Because I've been doing this a very long time. I have over 25 international awards from New York, from Cannes. I'm a speaker, I'm a consultant, I'm a panelist, but I'm always talking about my area of expertise, which is video. I'm super passionate about video. I contribute to a number of magazines, so you may have read something I've written, but I have over 20 years experience in video. So as mentioned earlier, I run a group of video brands, some big projects, some small projects, but you know what's growing the most right now? Is people building their personal brand. Everyone wants to start using video to grow on social media. The one thing most people know about me recently is that I executive produced a daily live show for Expo. So that's super interesting as well because I worked with people from all around the world, and you know what? They all want to build their personal brand too. It's all about how you leverage social media. And why do people know this about me? Because I spent the entire 6 months posting content and showcasing what I was doing at Expo. And it's so interesting because I come across people who I haven't met in real life, and they seem to know more about my life than the average Joe because they've been following me on social media. So it's a bizarre thing how it just allows you to skip introductions and get straight to the point. So, beyond all of the credentials, why do I think I'm the right person to help you? Because I spent the majority of my life behind the camera. I've been in this industry a long time, but I really never enjoyed putting myself in front of it. In fact, I kind of looked down on it a little bit. I always used to think, oh, you're a bit, you must be a bit vain if you're putting yourself on camera. Oh, or culturally, I see we've got a mixed group, but culturally it was frowned upon. Like, I'm Arab, and you kind of look at it like, what's she doing on camera? So it's, and especially within a family scenario, like my family are like, that's not an appropriate thing to do, so there's a lot of thoughts, negative thoughts behind positioning yourself in front of a camera. But one thing that really struck me is I was really proud of working behind the camera. And then I worked on this big Hollywood movie. Any guesses what the #1 question I get asked when people find out I worked on Mission Impossible? What's the #1 question I get asked? What was Tom Cruise like? What was Tom Cruise like? I get asked everything under the sun about Tom Cruise. I don't get asked a single question about what I did on the movie. No one cares, Ultimately, people only really care about what's in front of the camera. They don't really care about what's happening behind it, right? So I was like, well, this doesn't make sense, I was there doing my job. He's there doing his job. What makes his job more interesting or more impressive than mine, right? Then I came across this term, leapfrogged. Have you heard of this term before? Leapfrogged? So have you ever been like scrolling through social media and then suddenly you see someone who, maybe they're not as experienced as you, maybe they're new to the market, but somehow they're like everywhere. They're everywhere and they're like attracting all of these opportunities. And you're like, how did this happen? Like, I've been around for ages, I've been doing this for ages, but this new person has got all these opportunities. Have you ever seen anything like that before, right? What I've realized is the only reason that happens is because they're more visible than you. That's it. The more visible you are, the more opportunities you attract. It's that simple, right? Then I worked with this lady. Anyone know this lady? She is close. She's a very famous celebrity chef, right? Her name is Manal Al-Alam. And I worked with her on a cooking series. And I asked her, I was like, how did you get started, right? And she mentioned that it was actually her kids. Her kids said, she was always very talented in the kitchen and they loved her food. And they're like, just create a video and put it out there. So she did one video and it did really well. And like a week later, her kids were like, Mama, you have to put another one out there, And she was like, more again? And they kind of pushed her to do it. And within 3 years, she'd crossed 3 million followers on Instagram. It's become a whole new revenue stream for her. She's actually built a custom kitchen in her basement just for shoots. And she's literally turned this into a new life. What I love about her and about telling this story is she's in her 60s. She didn't grow up with social media. She didn't grow up filming herself. She's Arabic, so she probably had a lot of the similar cultural challenges that I've had, but she's doing it and she's managed to create something new. So it got me thinking, if someone like Manal can do this, then all of you can do this, and I can do this, right? I mean, you all look a lot younger, so you grew up with the technology, you grew up with social media, so you've probably embraced it a lot faster than she has. I realized I had the ability, I have the skill, I have the knowledge, and then what happened during COVID is I actually entered a pitch contest, which was judged by Kevin O'Leary. I'm a big Shark Tank fan. And one of the interesting things that he said that during COVID, 80% of his investments actually thrived because they doubled down on their digital and their video strategy, right? So during COVID, that was the time where all those businesses who took digital and video seriously grew, right? So I'm hearing this from Kevin, it's like, great, I'm in the right industry, And I actually ended up winning that pitch contest because I was in a field that he perceives or he sees as a growing field, right? So I thought, I have to start doing this. So I did. I started to create a lot more video content. I started posting it on my LinkedIn, and I'm doing quite well with it. Like, it actually works. I get a lot of people who reach out to me, DM me, and then I realized I'm not alone. As challenging as it was for me, I work with a lot of business owners. I need to get them started on this journey. This is a well-known award-winning author. Her name is Karen Osman. And what was really interesting about her is she was really reluctant about getting started on video. And then once she did, she couldn't stop. It was just one of those moments where she realized she could do it, she enjoyed it, and next thing you know, she's like going live on her stories every day. So it's that tipping point of just pushing yourself to do it. Another well-known coach, her name is Niru Sharma. You would think a coach stands up in front of a room all the time. You would think that they shouldn't have any issues getting on camera. No, it took a year to try and convince her to just do it, just get in front of the camera, just do it. After she did it, after some practice, she's now turned that into part of her funnel. So she does weekly LinkedIn lives, and that's generating a new audience for her. Third one I love talking about is Lucy Chow. I don't know if people know her. She is in the local market. She's very well known in the investment space. What I found interesting about Lucy is she didn't see the point. She actually said, you know, there's so much content out there already. You know, if anyone wants to know anything about the financial space, they can Google and they'll find it. Why do I need to create my own video content? And I remember saying to her, yeah, fine, that's true. However, how many people are doing it from your perspective? Female, Middle East, Chinese, your level of experience in this region, that's a very unique voice. You know, and she went with the flow, and honestly, after a year of being consistent with her videos, she was announced as one of LinkedIn's top 15 MENA voices, right? Purely through her video content. So there are enough examples out there to show you that doesn't matter what career you're in, being consistent with your videos can make a difference. And it's really genuinely working for me. And I'm seeing it work more in my second year of being consistent. I get a lot of DMs, I get a lot of new inquiries and new business. I've actually become, my LinkedIn page has become a decent funnel for new business, more so than sometimes our company pages. The elephant in the room. You might be sitting there thinking, yeah, okay, great. You're talking to me about all these coaches, these consultants, these like award-winning people. How is this relevant to me? Yeah. That's an excellent question. I'm going to touch on platforms a bit later, but I think the key thing for anybody is to look at where your audience is, right? So if your audience is on LinkedIn, you need to be consistent on LinkedIn. If your audience is on Instagram, that's where you need to be consistent. There are a lot of schools of thought out there that, you know what, you need to be everywhere. Amazing. If you have the tools, the resources, the ability to be consistent everywhere, go for it. I'm a big Gary Vee fan, and you'll notice that every day he's got content on every platform. But he also has a machine behind him churning all of that out. So the reality is you probably are not going to be able to keep up with that pace. So the core message I always say is look at where your audience is and can you be consistent on that platform, and just stick with that. If you're able to do that successfully, build on a second one. That's what I believe, and that's what's worked, and I think that also makes it achievable for most people. But we will touch on that a little bit later. So coming back to this, and hello to our new friends in the room, welcome. Just to catch you guys up, we're talking about the power of video and the importance in starting to do this to build your personal brand, because more people will work with you if they have seen you online, right? That's where we are at the moment. Oop, my presentation has disappeared. Oh, the power of technology. So I just shared a bunch of examples of people who you would say, great, they're big, they're award-winning, they're coaches, must be easier for them. No, every single industry, it doesn't matter who you are, this is something that is applicable to you. We work with everyone from dietitians to chefs to lawyers to movers. It really doesn't matter which industry you're in. This is something you need to start embracing. But what's really interesting is I'm seeing a lot of coaches and consultants go through this. Any ideas why? Why is video content working really well for coaches and consultants? Yeah.
Because they can showcase their success, they can show what they are doing in their work. Basically, the best option to find a new audience and clients through the social media and what they want to do.
That is an accurate answer, but that is regardless of all industries. I think regardless of which industry you're in, video helps you showcase your success and case studies and all of that. But why coaches and consultants? One-on-one, right? But I would say not just coaches and consultants, it's any industry where you need to build trust. So what you'll find are like doctors, lawyers, accountants, anyone who you're going to have to sit with them one-on-one and share confidential information. Video really, really works. In the US, a study was just done, and the #1 profession that uses video or attracts the most results from video is the medical profession. Because before you go to a doctor, you're going to Google, you're going to research, you're going to find out as much as you can. And if that doctor has video content and you see them and you like them, they're like, oh, I like him, he's friendly, you're probably going to be more inclined to pick up a phone and book an appointment, right? So you need to think about your industry and what you do, but video has that ability to build trust more than any other type of medium, because I can see you, I can hear you, I can decide if I like you, you know? So I don't know how you do that from the written word or how you do that from a photo, but video is engaging all of your senses, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. Awesome. I'll try that again. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, thank you, just checking. Right, so any guesses the percentage of people who are more likely to do business with you after watching a video? Watch it. So my earlier question was the percentage of people who will do business with you after watching you on social media. But now I'm being specific, after watching a video. Any guesses? Mita, what's your guess?
About 70%. I would say same or not.
Same? Yours? Higher? 90? Guesses? 75, 80? 75? Our friends at the back, any guesses? 60? Between 60 and 70? Our friends in support over here? 75? 66? Which, you know, we all guessed quite high, but in my opinion, 66 is pretty strong. You know, so when I work with people and they say, oh, I don't think I want to do the video, that's fine, but you're ignoring 66% of the people who may do business with you. You know, so it does make a difference, right? So again, coming back to the core of this, video, social media, this is a business development strategy. You know, it's what's going to help you build your identity, grow your personal brand, and start attracting opportunities. So you can no longer afford to ignore this right now. So I love asking this question, and this is the core question that I think everyone should always come back to when they're planning their content. If you can be famous for anything, what would it be? If you could be famous for anything, what would it be? Some people know the answer straight away. Some people need help. Some people need time. Some people still don't know, right? But like, I'll give you my example. I want to be known as your content creation coach. That's what I want to be known as. But actually, more specifically, I'm a video expert. So I want to be known as your video content creation coach. That's what I want. The minute you hear the word video, to be like, Reem's the person I need to talk to, right? And I think for each person in this room, you need to decide, like, what is that one thing you want to be known for? And the reason it's so important is because if you know what you want to be known for, then every time you create content, you produce videos, whatever it may be, I always ask myself the question, is this going to position me to be known for the thing I want to be known for? Right? So if someone consumes this video, if someone watches this, are they going to remember me as the video expert? If I suddenly start talking about something else and that distracts from my core objective, maybe that's not the right content for me. Does that make sense? So people start seeing results. So I get a lot of people who create content, create posts, and then they come back and they go, it's not working. It's not working. No one's inquiring. And then you have to like dig a little deeper and say, but what content are you creating? Where are you posting it? You know, what is your consistency level? Because video does work. If it's not working for you, it means there's a missing piece of the puzzle somewhere. And usually is that you're not on message and you're not aligned with what you want to be known for, right? So again, you may not know the answer to this question right now, but it's worth having in the back of your head and like playing about. And sometimes you try one route, it doesn't quite work, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to try this route, right? Until you figure out what it is. But it's a key question. So I want to know, everyone ready to find out how we're going to do this? Yes. That was not impressive. Let's do it again. Everyone ready? Yes. Amazing. Loving the energy. How are we going to do this? I've created a little formula. We're going to speed through it because I'm conscious that once we do this, we're going to get to the practical part. My formula is SHOW, S-H-O-W, right? And we're going to start with the S. The S is selecting your who. Right? So before we create any content or any videos or anything, we want to look at selecting our who. Who is our audience, right? And the first part of this is knowing our objective. Like, why are we even creating videos? Right? Why are we doing it? Right? And I want to give you a very clear example about how your objective can impact the content that you produce, right? So in my case, if I want to be seen as a thought leader in my industry, right? If I want to get speaking opportunities and I want to get, you know, new articles written in different magazines, the type of content that I will put out there will focus on the trends in my industry. I'm going to talk about how artificial intelligence is impacting post-production. I'm going to talk about the latest camera technology that's kind of going to come out. Is that going to get me a new customer? You know, or do you care? Do you really care? No. The average person doesn't care about the future of my industry, right? That's not going to help me get someone sign up, you know, for my video course or to work with us on their video content. But it probably will get me noticed by a publication, by an event, by, you know, an organization somewhere that's looking for a speaker. Does that make sense? So the more content I put out that focuses on trends, future, tech, I'll be positioning myself as a thought leader and I'll attract a certain result. However, if my objective is to generate sales and I want new customers, right, then the kind of content I'm going to put out there is going to talk about how video can help you, right? What are the top 3 types of video you can do? How easily can you start with video in your business, right? So you start consuming this content and you're like, this is someone who can help me produce my videos. And the next thing you know, I have an inquiry for a customer, and it turns into a customer. Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? Yeah. Amazing. So that's why it's so important to know your objective. Like, understand, what do you want? What is the result? What is the outcome you're looking for? Because if you have the outcome, then it's a case of, okay, is the content I'm producing aligned with this objective, right? What are you an expert in? That's the second point. What are you an expert in? What is it? What is that topic that you can talk about endlessly till the cows come home? For me, it's video content. You know, it doesn't matter the slides go down, doesn't matter where we are, I can talk to you about videos. I'm passionate about it, I enjoy it. I'll be researching it even, you know, in my spare time, I'm watching videos and talking about videos. What is that area for you? Because if you've honed in on an area that you are an expert in, the likelihood is it'll be easy for you to create the content. It'll be easy for you because you understand it and you know the knowledge, right? So I was having a bit of a chat with Mita earlier. I know she does a lot in the LinkedIn space. It's probably going to be very easy for you to create content about LinkedIn because you work in LinkedIn every day, you create content for LinkedIn every day. So what is it for you that you do on a daily basis? Does that make sense? Right? But what I want you to also think about is, are you passionate about it? This is quite important. People underestimate this, you know, and they think, do I need to be passionate about it? Yeah. You know why? Because this is a long journey. This is not going to happen. You're not going to post you might if you're super lucky, but the reality is you're going to post your first video, you're going to have a bunch of people go, oh, Mabruk, that's great, hooray. All your family and friends are going to support you on video 1. On video 2, you may still get a bit of that, oh, great job, good job. By video 3, they've all gone, right? By video 3, it's like, oh, I've been watching this now, good, I'm happy for you. What you want to do is you want to attract the people who don't know you, right? You want to start attracting the customers in the World Wide Web. And that's only going to happen with consistency. And consistency takes time to see results. I can honestly say it took me about a year of being consistent before I started to get, yeah, I got a few well done, nice, good point, you know, but it took about a year till I got an inquiry through my video content, and I'm quite consistent, you know. So what I'm trying to share is that if I wasn't passionate about it,
what would you define as consistency?
At a minimum, posting a video once a week. At a minimum, because most platforms will operate in that way. Some, you know, the more content you feed it, the better results you have, but at a minimum once a week. Yeah.
But would you post once a week on all social media platforms, or like on
No, so I'll get to that a bit later, but the point I would make is, I mentioned it earlier, if you look at where your audience is, my audience is on LinkedIn. I get the most inquiries through LinkedIn, so I make sure that I post a video once a week on LinkedIn. I might, you know, the same video might appear on Instagram a couple of days later. You don't need to post the same content everywhere on the same day at the same time. Try and leverage different time frames on different platforms based on where you're going to look at your own insights, look at where you have the maximum reach, but also because you want to resurface and reappear in people's minds, right? So I've had people who might have seen it on LinkedIn and then seen it again like on Instagram 2 days later and seen it again, and then they contact you. It's like just popping up everywhere. So I'm not a big fan of like, here's the thing, let's post it everywhere at the same time. Someone here looked like they had a question. Yeah.
What you could do is use other platforms to promote your content.
Correct.
So, you know, even if like, technically yes, you could like post the same content on each platform, but if that's not your thing, you could obviously promote that content on different platforms, and that obviously helps you a lot more to get known and viewed and yeah, like a lot of people will see you because some platforms are better than others. Some platforms are better like yours, I guess.
But again, it's going to come back down to your strategy. So like if you're like your primary, you're always going to have a primary platform. So if my primary platform is LinkedIn, I might post a shorter clip or a teaser on Instagram to lead people to to my LinkedIn page, or a longer clip somewhere else based on, you know, what the preferences are of that platform. But I'm going to revisit all of this a bit later. For now, what I wanted to mention is how important it is for you to be passionate about it, purely because it takes a while to see results. So because it takes a while, you know, if you're passionate about it, you're going to keep going. You're going to want to keep doing it, you know. But if you're not, you know, and you're not seeing results after like a couple of months, you're like, this isn't working. I can't bother with this anymore. And what's interesting, so we were working with a lawyer, and she was producing these law tips and creating all this content, and then she just stopped. And I remember asking, like, what happened? You know, what you know, this was part of your strategy. And she said she wasn't enjoying it. I'm like, what's the issue? She's like, you know, I love law, but my whole day I'm talking about law. I'm in my office often late at night, and now I'm creating videos about law. I really don't want to be doing this anymore. Like, okay, well, what do you enjoy? What are you passionate about? She said, I'm really passionate about meeting people and getting to know their stories and learning about entrepreneurs. And great, so do that, right? So it's funny, that little tweak. The next month, I think she had 8 shoots and like filmed all these entrepreneurs and got new energy and was super passionate about it. So it's important that it's not always the area that you're an expert in, which is the area that you produce consistent content for. Yeah? So everyone clear? That was the S, that was selecting your who, the importance of identifying your audience, right? Knowing what your expertise is and whether you're passionate in it. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to move on to the H, which is harnessing your topic. Now, what do I mean by this? I've broken this down into something I call content themes and content strands. So, in your area of expertise, you probably have so much knowledge in your head, so much knowledge, right? And you see people who try and cram everything they know in, like, you know, 1 or 2 videos, right? To me, you need to break down all of that knowledge. So a content theme is like the buckets of information, right? And then the content strands are like all the possible topics within that. And the more you break it down to the lowest common denominator, the simplest message, each message turns into a video, right? So each message turns into a video. So as a result, I'm going to talk about duration a bit later as well, but as a result, all my videos are normally under a minute long, because I just want you to learn one thing. I don't want to go off and tell you everything I know under the sun. I've broken down my themes, I've got my strands, and each video, I'm just going to focus on one strand. So just coming back to Meta and the world of LinkedIn, you could decide that, you know what, one theme that you have is types of content. You know, another theme that you have is thought leadership. And then under thought leadership, you'll have a bunch of strands, right? So whether it's the types of content that helps you become a thought leader, whatever it may be, and you just take each strand, each message is a video, and that's it. It'll become clearer for you when we get to your scripting, but does that as a concept make sense? Yes? Yeah. Fabulous. Right, then we're going to go on to the O, which is optimizing your video. I want you to understand there are lots of different types of video out there. Oh, we're racing. Apologies, just bear with me as I come back. Right, lots of different types of video out there. When you're starting, I don't think you need to worry about everything. I normally tell people to start with 3. There are 3 types of video that are worth thinking about. The first one are interviews, right? Because there are lots of benefits of creating interview videos. Number 1 is if you're kind of not sure about yourself on camera, automatically you've split the airtime with someone else, so it kind of reduces the pressure. Number 2, if you're trying to grow, like think about it. If you've ever been in someone else's video, you're probably going to share that video, right? So the reachability of that content increases. Suddenly you've got a new audience who are going to see you, hear you, and that content is going to be shared in new places. Third is credibility, right? If you're strategic about the guests that you bring in, that's going to help you be positioned a certain way right from the start. So interviews are usually a great way to start. I mentioned Lucy Chow at the beginning. She grew her whole following through interviews. Every week she interviewed a different CEO. Of course, that CEO would share that video as well. That's a new audience that's now aware of her, right? So interviews are a key one. The second one is demonstrations. Video is a visual medium. So what can you show people? What can you demonstrate? So for example, if you're in interior design, can you show people a before and after? You know, if you're a chef, can you do a recipe video to show people how something gets made, right? If you're a makeup artist, can you actually show us, you know, how that look came to be? But if you're in a less visual industry, so let's say you're in the software space, right? What can you demonstrate? Maybe it's a screen capture of how something gets done online, right? Anything that's a how-to or teaches someone something visually does quite well. So demonstrations are the second. And the third are pieces to camera. What's a piece to camera? It's pretty much what I'm doing right now. I'm like looking at the camera, I'm talking straight to the camera, right? And that works really well for education, information, sharing knowledge, sharing tips. That's the easiest one to do. So those are the three that I recommend you start with. There are obviously lots of fancy things you can do, but when you're just getting started, focus on interviews, demonstrations, or pieces to camera, right? And just to give you an idea, you can take the same concept or the same content and do it in any of those three. So if I'm an interior designer, I could decide that I'm going to do an interview with the homeowner and talk about all the changes I'm going to make to the apartment. Or I could do a demonstration and just show you what it looked like before, what it looks like now. Or I can do a piece to camera and tell you and just say, these are the top trends, this is what I'm going to do. Do you see how it's the same content just done in three different ways, in those three different types of video? Yes? Awesome. But what often stands in the way is feasibility. So when you're planning your content, you want to make sure you choose the type of video that you can do consistently. Right? So, for example, in the same example I shared, you might be thinking, I'm going to film all of my interior design makeovers. But then you realize not many homeowners want you filming in their house and want to showcase that to the world. So that idea didn't work out. You might think, I'm going to interview a CEO every week. Have you tried to get into a CEO's diary recently? It's not that easy to have a schedule of CEOs lined up, right? So ultimately, what I suggest when you're just getting started is just start with pieces to camera, which is what I do. Because pieces to camera are the easiest. I'm not reliant on anyone else, just me. You know, so start with what you can do consistently. Some people say, you know what, I can do the interviews every week. I've got my customers all lined up. They're willing to do this. Great, go for it. But whatever you do, make sure it's something you can do consistently. And that's where scheduling becomes really important. And I would say there are two parts to this. It's scheduling your time, because it does take time. So make sure it's blocked in your calendar. If it's not scheduled, it often doesn't happen. So what we also do is schedule, we'll schedule a day a month and do 4 or 5 videos in that day. So at least everything is done for the month ahead. Right? So scheduling is quite important, but I would say not just scheduling to do it, scheduling to promote it. So once a video is done, great, then what? How are you leveraging this? How are you promoting it in different places to make sure that you get the most out of that content? Branding is super important. So branding is interesting and often gets totally missed and totally forgotten. What do I mean by branding? I think there are two things that stand out. It's how you're naming your content. Right? So what your thumbnail says, the actual title of the video. Because a lot of the time, it takes, 2-3 seconds for you to decide if you're going to watch that video, right? So you want to have a catchy name. You want to make sure you grab someone's attention. We'll be going into a lot more detail on that. But more than that, it's coming back to the original question, what do you want to be known for, right? So we work with a chef, and he is obsessed with the world of bread, right? If you Google chef, you'll get a whole list of chefs. But because he's obsessed with bread, we actually named his series The Truth About Bread, right? So if you type in chef, bread, he'll be one of the top people who pops up because he's branded himself in that way. So it comes back to that question. But second is visually as well, like actually thinking about the aesthetic and the thumbnail that you use. Anyone know what type of thumbnail actually gets the most results? Any ideas? Yeah?
It could be which basically tracks the viewer, but in a way where
You're right.
Yeah, but nothing. I don't think it's something like too shiny, I guess. But it's also thumbnails that have big text and thumbnails that are attractive to users.
So just to summarize for our online friends, you're like saying thumbnails with big text, attractive, clear on the message. You're right, but that's not what I was looking for. Thumbnails with your face on it have the highest click-through rate, which is why you see a lot of people putting their images on the thumbnail, because that automatically has a higher click-through rate. So the last thing you want to look at is the W. How do you make sure that your content grows, right? So possible partners, what do I mean by partners? It's like, how am I going to make sure I've just created this video, I maximize the number of people who are going to watch this, right? So you need to have a think of who are the organizations, the platforms, the communities who have an audience ready who want to consume it, right? And it might come up in places you don't expect. So for example, with Karen, our author, we have a partnership with Borders, right? Karen is an author. She creates video content, helping you write books, giving you tips on what the latest books are. Our partnership with Borders is brilliant because we need a location. We film in their bookstore. It's very obviously a Borders bookstore, but they have a database of book lovers who've clearly come and bought books from them before. So by them cross-marketing, they promote her video series to their database. That is a ready audience who are actually interested in her content. Sorry? Correct. Yeah, it's a ready audience, right? Like I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of the assembly before, you know, and then Mita reached out through another group, and I know In5, so automatically the fact that it's being promoted through In5, the assembly, like Female Fusion, all these different groups, you get a new audience that you wouldn't have had, right? So you need to think about where are the communities, the organizations, and in the Borders case, the location, you know, that can help amplify your message and grow your reach. Right? Because that's quite a key component to look at. And then also where you're distributing it. So a few people were mentioning social media before. I'm a big believer in understanding where your audience is, which social media platform is your audience on, and focusing on that. We were working with an interior designer, and she'd been posting videos for some time, and then she came and she's like, it's not working. I was like, okay, let's analyze this. Why isn't this working? And she said, I post every week. Great. Where are you posting? On Instagram. Okay. Who are your target customers? Who are you trying to reach? Who's your best customer? Like my typical best customer is a CEO, over 50, male, right? They're usually very busy. Okay. Do they even have Instagram accounts? Are they even on Instagram? Oh, actually, I hadn't thought about that. Okay, great. Where are they? Yeah, they're all on LinkedIn. I'm connected. Great. So don't you think that you should be posting that content on LinkedIn because that's where your audience is, right? So it was such a small shift. She thought she was failing. She thought she wasn't working. The minute she posted all that content on LinkedIn is when she got a new lease of life and interest, and it grew. Right? So that's why when we're looking at distribution, it's personal for each individual, depending on your line of work and who you're trying to reach. You know, I would say to someone who, you know, maybe does a lot in the kids space, Facebook might be the best place for you, because there are a lot of mum communities, a lot of mothers, a bit of an older generation on Facebook who actually are interested in content and information for kids. They may have much better results on Facebook than they would on LinkedIn. So you have to think about what you're selling or how you want to be positioned and who your audience is, and make sure you're consistent on that platform. Having said that, there is value in being present in the others for two reasons. Because, you know, I mean, you probably know more than me, but back in the day, whenever anyone said anything about PR, they would say, they need to see you 7 times before they work with you, right? So for me, what often happens is like they've seen my LinkedIn post, and then they've heard me somewhere else, and then they've received my mailer, and you know, it's literally the bombardment strategy of they need to have seen you, and I say, oh, I'm ready to work with that person. So there's value in being in other places, because you just never know, you know, how they may eventually fall into your world, even though that may not be your primary platform. The second thing I was going to, yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask, like, if you are, for example, as you said, in your case, you are posting on LinkedIn because you have like your audience is there. Is it like difference between the content that you post, like for example, on Instagram or LinkedIn, or it's the same? I think that the way how you present yourself, because in Instagram you can do like more like friendly stuff,
Yeah.
and on
I think that's an excellent question, and I think LinkedIn is changing. So I think LinkedIn is evolving, and you're seeing a lot more personal content on LinkedIn. And what I'm seeing from my own posts, which is amusing to me, is that the more posts I create that have a personal angle to it, they are currently outperforming the ones which are purely business. So I always try and have that balance. I have a balance of, I'll start with, it might be a personal story which connects to my profession. You know, to give you an example, like one of my best posts, which I do quite frequently because now I know it works, is when I talk about me being uncomfortable on camera. Right? So I'm talking about me, it's personal, my personal journey. I'm a bit uncomfortable on camera, you know, I'm getting a bit gray, I've gained weight, it's a very self-conscious feeling that I know a lot of people will relate to, you know, because there are a lot of people who feel that way. Nor, I would say maybe 2-3 years ago, you wouldn't see a post like that on LinkedIn. You know, talking personally about my feelings. But so I'll start the post that way, and then I'll turn it into the fact that how through my business working with people, I've managed to overcome the challenge and on camera. And so suddenly it's pivoted to a more professional, you know, angle, if that makes sense.
And also, when you're on LinkedIn, for example, you're like promoting yourself, posting the videos, like do you usually attract like individuals or it's business, like the other coming to you?
So that's a very good question again, because LinkedIn, people connect with people, right? So it's the people in the business, right? So for me, if I want to work with that organization, then I need to appeal and attract the people who work in it, right? So I still think you need to be thinking one-to-one. You need to be thinking about the people, and then the business will, you rarely talk to a company. You're talking to the people in the company, right? Exactly. And if that person moves to another company, you're now working with that company, right? So it's how building relationships with the people. But to answer how this question started, is that I do often, my LinkedIn content does appear on my Instagram. That's fine. Not all of my Instagram content appears on my LinkedIn. So I do sometimes on Instagram have a few posts that are just my friends or just something social, or, you know, so I do have a bit of a filter because I'm conscious that on LinkedIn, that is my professional space. Having said that, you can get inquiries from Instagram as well. So I look at all of social media as business development. And I would be very careful about going too far in the personal side of things, because nowadays people are going to look up your social media before your website, before anything else.
I mean, like, do you think like it would be possible, for example, if you are a personal trainer, let's say, and if you have obviously the Instagram more better for you, but if you go to the LinkedIn to attract someone that who might like see, oh, this nice personal trainer, I want to train.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be possible?
Yes, absolutely, because don't forget, if you're a personal trainer, the people if you are, the people on LinkedIn are still looking for personal trainers, you know. So I think the way the platform is evolving, it's turning into what Facebook was in the beginning. It's turning into like the Facebook for business professionals, you know, where we are seeing more of the personal side of life, and I think that's normal. And you're seeing a lot of discussion at the moment about, you know, wellness and, you know, work-life balance, and there's so much. On LinkedIn at the moment, I think every second post is something in this field, which shows that even on the professional side of things, people care and want to connect to the personal. So I think don't be afraid to be personal, but don't go too far that it can impact your identity and how you want to be positioned. So it always comes back to that original question of what do you want to be known for still. So even if I'm personal, I'm still conscious I want to be known as a video content coach. So is this still aligned? Can I still, every now and then you have like an outlier post which has nothing to do with anything, fine. But the core, 80% of my page needs to like focus on that message. Yeah? So the other thing I was going to say is not just social media. Where else can you use this content? So your mailing lists, you know, even physical spaces, you know, if you've got screens around the place, like try and utilize it as much as possible. WhatsApp groups are actually, or having a WhatsApp strategy is really interesting, because once you send it to someone on WhatsApp, you're kind of forcing someone to click and watch it. You know, so the results you get are very different. So always think of produce the content, where can I use it? How can I leverage this? But the number one thing, doesn't matter where you are, what platform, what strategy, it's consistency, right? If you're not consistent, it doesn't work. You do one video and hope that that video will last for the rest of your life, it won't. People forget. There's so much content out there right now, so much, right? And people are consuming so much more, which means for you to stand out or for you just to be remembered, you need to consistently be there, right? So just keep that in mind.
So I remember you mentioned that consistency you would suggest is once a week.
Minimum.
When it comes to video, etc. But I work with a lot of B2B clients and I do a lot of their content.
Yeah.
So a lot of it obviously is the written word or their links and stuff like that, or images, etc. But I would like to add video onto that sort of thing. So maybe the consistency will be different for these business-to-business clients, or is it still a one-week thing?
That's a minimum. Okay, here's an interesting question for you. Any guesses the average number of videos a business and B2B businesses produce per month? The average number? 5, 6. Any other guesses? 8, 10. Any other guesses? The average business? 15, 20. I like how we've all given ranges. No one's ready to commit. People at the back, any guesses? 10. The average number of videos a business produces per month. So we've gone everywhere from 6 to 1 to 5. You guys? 10. It's 18.
Are you talking about all kinds of videos?
Yep.
Okay.
18. Right? So the average, a business right now is on average producing 18 videos a month. I'm just telling you to do 4. Like just do 1 a week at a minimum. If you can up your game, great. But you know, 1 a week is a minimum. If you think about how, you all look too young, but like if you think about how TV would work back in the day, you know, you'd have like a weekly time slot for your favorite show, you know, and you'd sit and you'd tune in and you'd have your popcorn, whatever it is, and you're ready to watch. And then you wouldn't see it for another week, right? So it's building that appointment viewing with your audience so that they know that, okay, every Monday I've got a new video from you, right? And that week that you don't post a video, they'll find something else to watch. You know, that week, the US is terrible. Anyone here grew up or watched TV in the US? It's the most annoying thing. It really, I can never find the program I want to watch. It's the most irritating. Like, you know, I grew up in the UK, so everything happens on time at the time. The US, if you're watching your favorite show, you think it's going to be on at like 2 p.m. next week, and you come at, where is it? You know, I don't know where it is. So it's one of those, but when you're sitting and you're ready to watch something and your favorite show doesn't come on, what do? You start flicking channels. You start trying to find something else. Same logic. If I'm not getting enough content from you, I like your content, I'm not getting enough from you, I have time, I'm going to start exploring other people, and that's when I discover someone new and I start watching them. It's very difficult to build an audience. If you've successfully managed to get a fan, you want to retain them. You want to keep giving them value so that they keep coming back for more. Right? I've gone into like, you know, mantra mode, but I'll keep. The point is, our whole point is to grow an audience. So the key thing is you just need to decide. Do you want to be visible?
Yes.
One person. Anyone else?
Yes.
Oh my God! So many. Clearly, you guys don't want it. Do you guys want to be visible?
Yes.
Love it. Awesome. Okay, so this is our chef, just like Chef Sven. So Truth About Bread. I've mentioned him already. Karen, this is an example of what her thumbnails look like. They're pretty clean, pretty clear. Her series is called Karen's Bookshelf. She talks about books. All of her thumbnails have an image of her that helps, you know, with the click-through rate. And we know what she's talking about. Writing tips, 4 steps to help you outline your novel. You know, if you get a clear title, like, yeah, I want to watch that video, right? And Lucy Chow, I already mentioned, who literally became one of LinkedIn's top MENA voices just by having consistent videos. So I want you to realize you have the power to do this right now. And I'm going to pause slowly and we're going to move to a different presentation and we're going to start getting practical. So I hope you all realize you can do this. And if you're wondering how, you've got 2 options. You can be a tortoise or you can be a hare. You can figure this out really slowly, or you can pay attention for the next hour and I can help you do it. So I normally do run run workshops, coaching workshops, but we also do a program once a month, which is a bit more intense, where we help you produce the videos. But what we're going to do in the next section is I'm going to give you an opportunity to try it yourselves with your phones. So we can have a quick, I don't want to say break because we lose people, but if you want to grab a water, grab a coffee, I'm going to change my presentation, and then once we get back, we're going to jump into the practical side of things. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Awesome. All right. You guys try it too.
Yeah, I was ready to sit back down.
Okay, we set, guys? We are good to go, so I'm going to get started with our scripting session, right? So the whole point of writing a script is you want to tell a story. You want people to engage and be interested and want to learn from you, right? That's what the whole point of scripting is. I want you to remember two things. The most Googled words are how to and how do I, right? These are the most Googled words. So it would make sense that if you're going to produce a video, that you want to answer a question, right? So you want to imagine that someone is going to type in, how do I produce a video? You know, and you want your video to come to the top, right? Or how do I paint a wall? And you want your top 3 tips to come to the top. So just keep that in the back of your mind, the fact that most people Google how to and how do I, right? Yeah? Yeah. Fabulous. Right, so I want you to think about, for each of you, the objective of the video you want to produce today. We're going to be doing it on your phone. We're going to keep it super simple. But if you were going to create a video right now, what would it be? And if anyone's ready with the answer to this, let me know. Yes?
Yeah, how to solve a problem and find the solutions.
Wow, that's how to solve a problem and find a solution.
So without, like, how to overcome if you don't know how to do something.
Okay.
How to overcome this if you don't have any other resource to find it. So you need to, you don't have to tell yourself that I cannot do.
Okay.
It's not possible or I'm not able. You need to like just try to find a way how to consume the information. Maybe you don't like to read, maybe you can do listen, something like that to solve your problem.
So I'm going to take it a step back, right? Which it sounds like, correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like the objective of your video is to motivate someone.
Yeah.
So in terms of your objective, you want someone to watch your video and be motivated.
Yes.
Fine, got it. What else, what other types of videos do we want to do? What do you guys do right now? As in, yeah, are you working? Are you studying? You're studying? What are you studying?
Particular, I'm just like, in high school, so there's nothing particular. Like,
You're-
I'm not major, I'm just studying classes, subjects.
So if you were going to produce a video right now, what kind of video would make sense for you? Do you have a passion you're trying to grow?
He's a streamer.
Streamer. Awesome. Oh, amazing. Great. That's a perfect example. So perhaps the type of video you could look at. Are you passionate about it? Gaming and sort of? Right now it's just a hobby. That's fine. That's where everything great starts, right? Fine. So if that's something you're passionate about, maybe I'm just trying to give you focus for this hour, right? So maybe what you can look at is like the top 3 ways to get into gaming, or the top 3 games to get you started, or something along those lines, right? Just trying to help you get a focus for today. So you want to think about the objective of your video. So before we move forward, I want everyone in this room to have the video that they're going to be working on for the next hour. So if you need a minute, or if you have it, let me know. You sound clear, so you know what the type of video. What kind of video are you going to do? Coding. Amazing. Perfect. So you're going to do no problem. The best people are. So you're going to do you want to do a video about coding? Coding? Perfect. My friend next to you, what type of video what do you want to talk about in your video?
Maybe about how to grow up as a success startup.
Okay. Good. That works.
Right now I'm working on a startup.
Okay.
In a couple of days, maximum in 1 week. Right now I'm working on the script of the video. So I have to develop a video on my platform. I'm building a social media platform. Yeah.
You're building a social media platform. Okay. So if we what do you want your video to talk about today?
Just talking about the platform.
About the platform. So, fine. Perfect.
For now, I think in 1 hour it won't be possible.
Everything is possible. So I just want you to have a focus. So the focus now is to talk about your new platform, right? Fine. I think, are you happy with the focus on gaming? Yeah? I'll come back to you in a minute. Our friend at the back, what do you want to focus your video on? Can you repeat that, please? How to make hardware? A hardware synthesizer. Perfect, love it. Okay, I love it because it's quite niche, right? Because when you come back to how do I, someone is going to type that question in, and his video is going to pop up to the top. Hello. I'll come back to you in a moment. What are you going to do your video on?
Something related to electronics.
To the?
To electronics.
Electronics. Let's get a bit more specific. What about electronics?
Basics based on ways to make a circuit better, etc.
Sorry?
Ways to make your circuits.
Oh, ways to make circuits better. Love it. Great. Yes.
The right guy to be a digital artist.
The
right guy to be a digital artist.
The right guy to be a digital artist.
Yeah.
So it's like the qualities you need to be a digital artist?
Not qualities, more of tips on how to start and what you
Tips on how to start. Like it. Good. Mita, what are you going to do?
YPR.
YPR. I like it. What are you guys doing?
I'm also a streamer and a cosplayer, so maybe one of those.
Okay. Pick one. Cosplay. So, okay, great. You're going to work on a video. What topic is your video about? Drawing. Very nice. There were 2 people I skipped. Yes.
For me, probably using how to start off with being
With being a?
ethical hacker.
Ethical hacker. Fascinating. Okay. And there was someone else we skipped. I think it was you. Yes. I'm very sorry. I can't hear you. Sorry? A tier list. Okay. What about a tier list? Okay, so everyone at least has the topic, right? So you have the topic. I want you to think about, remember that initial thing, how do I or how to? That's what people are going to type. They're going to type, how do I XYZ? How to XYZ, right? So what might help before we go into this is to decide on the title of your video. Decide on the title of your video, right? So if I'm going to look at your thumbnail, what does your video say? Can we all take a minute to decide on the title of our video? So you're going to decide on coding. What is the title of your video? Is it the top 3 ways to get started with coding? Yeah, go on. Okay, write that down. Write it down. So how to learn coding in an hour. That's his title. You'd click on that, wouldn't you, if you want to learn coding, yeah? Don't worry if it's not perfect. We'll revisit it at the end. But I just want everyone to get clear on what the content of their video is going to be about. Mita, what was yours?
Definitely 3 reasons why you should embrace PR.
Love it. So guys, Mita's one is 3 reasons why you should embrace PR. Right? It's very clear. I'm going to watch this video if I want to know why I want to embrace PR. Does that make sense? Anyone ready to share their title? Yeah. How to overcome your fears. Okay, it's a good start. I'm going to give you tips on this afterwards, but at least we know what yours is about. Anyone else? Yes.
Social media platform from center of the world to the whole.
Sorry, say that again.
Social media platform from center of the world to the whole.
From the center of the world to the whole world. Okay, I think some of these titles, remember you want someone to click on it, right? So why am I going to click on that video?
Here what I'm trying to say in this video is, if you see most of the social media platforms, either they come from west or east.
Okay.
Either from US or China.
Okay.
If you are taking example of platforms which are having more than 300 million users, so there are no platforms from remaining part of the world.
Okay.
That is what I'm trying to do.
I understood, but why am I going to click on your video? Like, I'm going to click on her video because I want to find out about PR. I'm going to click on his video because I want to learn how to overcome my challenge. Why am I going to click on your video? You can still talk about the same thing. You just have to find a title that will make me want to watch your video. You get my point? You always have to think you have 3 seconds. Someone's going to look and go, yeah, I want to watch it. No, I don't want to. If yours said social media from the center of the world to the, I don't care. I'll just keep scrolling. I'm a bit blunt, but you get the point. I just want you to have like a title that'd be like, I need to watch this video. How are you going to learn coding in an hour? I want to learn coding in an hour. I'm going to watch that video if I'm interested in coding. Yeah, anyone else want to share their title? Yeah.
Guides and tips on being a digital artist.
Again?
Guides and tips.
Guides and tips on being a digital artist. Okay, I would look at how do you improve on that? 3 tips to being a digital artist, right? You want to grab someone's interest. But yeah, if I'm interested in being a digital artist, I will click on that video. Anyone else want to share? Yep. Setting up a roadmap to become an ethical. I like it, but it's also long. So similarly, you can go three steps to becoming an ethical hacker. You know, like you're getting to the point. It's like, I want to become an ethical hacker. These are the 3 steps. Yeah? Everyone getting the point. We want to just grab someone's interest and get that punchy title. We'll revisit it in a bit. So I'm going to give you, I don't expect you to do this right now. We're going to do it together, but I just want you to know what we're about to do. You're going to start your script with a hook, right? A hook. A hook is that fact that's going to grab viewers' attention, right? You want to leave them intrigued. You want them to leave them wanting more, right? That's the opening of your video. I'm going to show you examples of this. Oh God, here we go again. Right. Sorry. So the hook is what's going to grab someone's interest. Then you're going to educate them, right? You're going to maybe use another fact. You're maybe going to highlight a concern, give viewers context, right? And it's going to be very quick. You're going to educate them. Then you're going to do a CTA. Anyone know what a CTA is? A call to action, right? Now that they've been hooked in, now that you've educated them, you want to give them something to do. You want to ask them to do something at the end, right? So we're going to do an example together just to make this super clear. I want to show you the difference between version 1 and version 2, right? So this is a lady called Sonia. Version 1, my name is Sonia. I'm the founder of Your Wellness Dimensions, and I want to tell you 3 ways to follow through with your lifestyle goals. I'm already bored, right? If I don't know Sonia, right, why am I going to keep watching this video? But if I say, did you know that 92% of people do not follow through with their life goals? Suddenly, like 92% didn't follow through. You know, it's like I'm intrigued. I want to find out more. That's the power of having a strong starting sentence. So for me, I normally use something. I use statistics a lot. I use questions a lot, because if I use a statistic, it makes you go, really? You know, if I go, did you know that 93% of people have made a sale using a video? You're like, 93% of people. Like, I need to find out more about this. Or if I say, are you someone who feels really shy and nervous getting on camera? Then I have a whole world of people go like, yeah, that's me, I feel shy. You know, so you want to make sure that the viewer is hooked in, right? And the fastest, easiest ways to do that are either knowledge, statistics, or questions, emotion. Make sense? Right? I'm going to share one of my videos with you because I want you to see how super simple they can be. It is stuck currently. Okay. Okay. Sorry? Oops. Sorry. You're already creating videos, you're trying to say. Okay. Great. Yeah. I'll check it afterwards. For now, I just want to show an example because my video follows the formula that I've just mentioned, right? What I'm hoping you realized in that video is it's super simple. It's really short. You learned something. I hopefully hooked you in with a statistic. I told you here are my top 3 reasons, right? I gave you reason 1, reason 2, reason 3. If you're interested in producing LinkedIn videos, you now know there's a 20 times, it's going to be shared 20 times more than any other content. People are going to spend 3 times longer on, hopefully I've maybe convinced you to consider LinkedIn video, right? And then at the end, I've told you, I'd love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments below. That's the CTA that I've given. I also included an introduction to who I am in a sentence. Right? I'm the CEO and founder of Ti22 Films Dubai ON. So already I'm positioning myself in a credible space. There are other ways to do this. You say, I've been in this industry for over 20 years. So automatically, oh, they've been around for 20 years. Or, you know, having worked with brands like XYZ. You know, so you want to have just that bridge sentence that builds your credibility. But everyone agree that's a simple video. Very simple. And the reason it works is because it's simple. It's simple, it's easy for me to do. You can do it, I'm standing in front of a plain background. There's nothing fancy going on here. But if you can do something like this consistently, and it's short, one key question that I'm answering, which is same as all of your titles. Get that key question, we want to have that hook, we want to introduce ourselves, give our 3 points, and have a call to action. Is that clear? I'm going to go back to the presentation. Okay, so we're going to start writing our scripts. We all have our title. Oh God, here we go again. Okay, so coming back to our title, let's have another look at our title. Is it grabbing attention? The shorter the better. Lists work, so like the top 3 ways, right? Or the top reason why, and you've got that 1, you focus on 1, right? Don't go over 3. The minute you go over 3, your video is going to go over a minute. Yeah? So everyone happy with their titles, or do you want to revisit them? If you want to revisit, take another look. Let's revisit your title. You're happy? Okay. Are you happy? You changed it? What is it now?
Actually, I changed the whole video actually. So,
Okay.
video,
Okay.
where I will be talking about list of top 10 countries.
Sorry?
List of top 10 countries.
Okay.
The percentage of daily time spent by internet users aged 16 to 64 on mobile phones.
I think it's a great topic. I think that's a very long title, and I think you need to stick to under 3. So the top 3 countries that, like, try and rephrase it. So it's the top 3 countries with the highest mobile penetration, or something like that. You know, just so that it grabs my interest and it's shorter, right? Everyone clear on this? We're moving forward. Okay, so we've got our title. Now our hook. I want everyone to work on the first sentence of their video. Work on the first sentence of your video. So think of it either as, did you know that XYZ? Or, the percentage of people that do Y are XYZ. Or do what I mentioned earlier, start with a question and then say, does that sound like you? I want everyone to work on their first sentence.
How about a quote from someone famous?
A quote can work too. A quote is another good example. But whatever it is, that's gonna, guys, do you need help or are you good? You're good? Are you working on your first sentence? You're deciding on it? Amazing, I'll ask you in a minute. So that first question, that first sentence, you want to grab someone's attention, yeah? Let me know whenever you're ready to share your first sentence. You're ready? What's your first sentence?
Bill Gates was famously said that he was down with his last dollar and he spent it on public relations.
Love it. You know, and then I would actually add something onto that, which is along the lines of, do you want to argue with Bill Gates? Or, you know, it's like something like, well, if it worked for Bill Gates, there's a high chance it's going to work for you. You know, so it's just now turning it into that relatability again. Yeah, that works. But that's a great first sentence. Anyone else ready to share their first sentence? So just a reminder, I often have a statistic. So mine would be 93% of people say they've made a sale through a video on social media. Isn't it time you gave it a shot?
Or can I do something like, if you know how many opportunities you missed because you was not, you couldn't overcome your.
Love it. Great. Because then I'll be sitting there thinking, how many opportunities have I missed because I haven't overcome it? So that works. It's a question that's relatable. That's great. Yeah.
Thinking of saying like, have you ever wanted to get into shooting but didn't know how to start, or didn't know where to start?
Perfect. Perfect. Just stop. I didn't know how to start. Perfect. Because I'm going to look at that. Yeah, I've really wanted to get into shooting. I don't know how to start. And then you want to keep watching. So that's a perfect hook. Anyone else ready to share their hooks? Yeah.
Do you know what is the percentage of total daily time spent by internet users aged 16 to 64 using the internet on mobile phones?
I think
Lengthy?
it's long. I get where you're going. I like it, but shorten it. Do I really need to know the last part of that sentence?
Yeah, because it is talking about different age groups and what device they are using. So I think we need to include all these things, but I don't know how to.
Can you read it again?
Time spent is we are talking about 4 things here. Average daily time spent,
Mm-hmm.
different age groups 16 to 64,
Mm-hmm.
and using the internet on mobile phones.
So-
particularly each device.
So what I'm going to tell you is that if you remember when I was talking about content themes and content strands, you're trying to talk about 4 things in one video, right? So you're trying to put all of your knowledge in one video, right? So you're going to eventually run out of content if every time you do a video, you put everything you know in that video. You need to dilute and step all the way back and just pick one of those things to talk about. I get you're interested in it, so you're trying to connect them and there are interesting statistics, but can you just take the age group, for example? You know, or just take the geographic region, or just take the mobile penetration. Take one, because then your next video can be about the penetration. Then your next video can be about that. Don't put it all in one video, because you're not giving anyone enough information. Yeah, so I think you might need to revisit
So
it.
the question is like, if you want to cover like all aspects of your video, it's better to break down it in the given portion of the video.
Correct. Because I want everyone to think about this, right? When someone sends you a video, what is the first thing that you look at? The time, the duration, right? That's what I do. I look at the duration. If it's over a minute, I'm like, I don't have time for this. If it's under a minute, I'll click it. So in the beginning, when you're trying to grow an audience, you just want to get their attention. So short, 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 short. When you have a fan base, when you have people who enjoy watching you, then you can give them an essay. You can give them long content because they're already bought in. They already want to hear you. Yeah.
Just wanted to ask, like, so, for example, even if you start like completely fresh, moving new, do you always have to like create short videos? Like, is it recommended to start short videos when you start, to create short videos when you start, and then go into longer videos, or can you make longer videos at the beginning? What would you recommend?
You can. But the reality is, if you're just starting, you're going to attract more videos with the short, and then they move to the long. So eventually you get to a point in time where you have to create both. You're creating the short videos to attract a new audience and the longer videos to like feed your existing audience, right? But when you're just starting out, so the short will always be a necessity, just because of viewer attention span, the way different social media platforms work, the fact that people don't have time. You know, if they're going to explore you for the first time, they'll give you 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and then they'll lose interest.
Because I noticed that like the shorter it is, the better. Like, I would say like the better, like 10 to 15 seconds in a video, because that, I guess, just attracts the person. But I also noticed that as soon as the video starts, like the first few seconds, you have to get hooked into the video.
Correct.
Yeah, and in a sense of, I guess, content creation, the way it works is that if you don't get the person hooked up as soon as possible, then once they click off the video, it might not get recommended to the next person because they have fully viewed the video.
Yeah. Yeah. So every platform has its own algorithms, but that's why finding the hook is super important, right? That first sentence to grab someone's interest, right? So I'm going to presume everyone here is good with their hook and you have your sentences sorted. Our ethical hackers and tier and all that, are we good? Do we have, right? Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Fine, we've got our hook. Then we're going to move on. Actually, before the body, I think you need to add a sentence. Add a sentence introducing you. One sentence, right? What was, so Meeta, can you repeat your hook, please?
Bill Gates had $1. He would spend it on PR.
And then did you add a second part to that?
Yeah, and I said if it's good enough for Bill Gates, it's good enough.
So what I would do after that sentence is a sentence introducing yourself. So you either go, I'm Meeta, and with over X number of years in PR, I'm going to tell you the top 3 ways or the top 3 reasons why you need to embrace PR, right? But it's important to add something that builds your credibility. So with over X years of experience, or having worked with X types of brands, or you know, as the CEO of X company for however many years. So just to add it, so it's kind of like a comment that's in your sentence, right? So can you remind me of your hook, please?
Wait. Chow, have you ever wanted to switch to but didn't know how?
But didn't know how, right? How long have you been gaming?
A
Few weeks? Okay. What makes you an authority to talk about this? Like what makes you an authority? Why should I listen to you? Are you good at it? Yeah? Okay. So maybe what you can do, I'm sorry, I don't know your name? Mohammed. Okay. So if you can say something along the lines of, I'm Mohammed, I've been streaming for X whatever, and I've managed to go from this to this, you know, and I'm going to share my top 3 ways on how you can get started. Something like that, like I understand the way you've built, although you haven't been playing for very long, the fact that you're telling me you've managed to get this amount of success or you've managed to reach these stages in that period of time builds your credibility. It's like, I want to learn from you because you've managed to do it. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay, who else has, do you want to try yours?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm a serial successful entrepreneur.
Okay.
And this is how I was before shy, couldn't speak with people, and so on. I mean, like, I imagine, like, when you are in some, like, event and you want to talk to the person and you are like, shy and you need to overcome this. So
Yeah.
this is how I overcome, this is how I didn't miss the opportunity to meet this partner.
Perfect.
And I want success.
So I like yours because it's tapping into the emotional side. So like after your hook, your next sentence, sorry, what was your name? Murad. Okay. You don't look like a Murad. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, nice to meet you. So I would go into, you don't always have to say your name because often you'll have the title, but if you wanted to, you'd say, I'm Murad and I spent the majority of my life quite shy and I've managed to overcome this, by being a serial entrepreneur, and here are my top 3 ways on how you can do it too. So you're like, I'm relating with you, that this you used to be this person, you're now this person. Yeah?
Because basically, like my title will say how to overcome, so it means
Yeah.
automatically the person who's watching,
Yeah.
he is shy.
Correct. But the point of this sentence is to build your credibility in that space. So by telling people that you were shy and you've managed to overcome it, it's like, okay, he's managed to do it, I want to listen to how he did it.
And he's successful.
Yeah. Everyone clear? Yeah, okay. All right, so the next thing you're going to do after you've got that sentence is you're going to write the body of the script. So if meters are the top 3 reasons why you should... Okay, if she's got the top reason, then she has roughly, I would say 3 sentences to explain the top reason, right? If you're someone who has 3 reasons, then you literally have a sentence per reason, right? So the top 3 reasons why I think you need to embrace video are, number 1, every social media platform out there is giving you higher engagement by using video. Number 2, people are lazy. Nobody wants to read anymore. The likelihood is you're going to get higher retention by posting a video. Number 3, it's the only medium that engages all of your senses, so it helps build trust. If you're ready to start with video, get in touch. So I've just given you 3 reasons, sentence, 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 right? So for your scripts, I want you to look at either, if you've got top 3 reasons, a sentence per reason. If you've got 1, you can spend 3 sentences to elaborate on that 1. Keep it short, keep it useful. Share tips and information your audience will learn from. And the reason this is important is because the best type of content is either entertainment or education. And entertainment is very difficult to do. It's very subjective. What you find funny and what I find funny are going to be completely different. So that's why education is an easier route to reaching your audience. So I'm going to give you a minute to write your 3 sentences. We're going to be filming them too, so I hope you've all got your scripts. I see some of you diligently doing this, which I appreciate, and some of you who maybe not so diligently. Yes. I can't hear you, I'm sorry. Yes, it is. So that's another alternative, is that you start with something very creative. So if you have an ability to showcase a talent, for sure, but don't go on for too long. Like either, just enough to get someone interested and go in. So yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah. You okay?
Getting ready, I had a quick question. So most of these videos that we're talking about now are talking about shorter videos, etc. What role do longer videos have? They're also just as important. Some of their 100% are interns, they get videos about stuff that they're working on in projects. So they're slightly longer. Do they actually do hands-on training on those videos?
So that's the question Mohammed asked a little while ago. So the point being is that it depends on what your objective is. So if your objective is to appeal to a new audience, the likelihood is the shorter the video, the better, because they don't know you and you're trying to attract their interest. Once you have an engaged audience, they have a vested interest in finding out more or learning more, which is why longer videos work, which is why webinars work. So it's like the case is like, I've managed to attract you through all my short videos, and now I want to listen to you for longer. I'm going to tune into your 45-minute webinar or whatever it is.
But does 5-minute videos count as short videos?
It depends on the platform. So what you have on Facebook, like Facebook, for example, actually optimize videos that are 3 minutes plus, because if they're 3 minutes plus, that they also go on Facebook Watch. So you'll find that a longer video on Facebook will do quite well. On LinkedIn, at the moment, it's between 60 seconds and 90 seconds. So when you post a 3-minute video on LinkedIn, you've lost half the audience already. So unfortunately, because of how all the different social media platforms work, you need to maybe adapt your duration. So yes, it does qualify as a short video, but that same short video won't get you the same results on each platform. And unfortunately, again, is this everything I've just said keeps changing. So what you have is like in 6 months' time, it'll be completely different and new ways of working. Like YouTube introduced YouTube Shorts, right? YouTube Shorts was really popular in other parts of the world, and then it suddenly popped up in the UAE, I don't know, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, something like that. Not enough people, huh?
It also depends on like the algorithm of each
Yeah.
platform. So each platform is distributed differently based on basically everything. So based on the title, based on the thumbnail,
Yeah.
based on the length of the video.
But that's what I'm saying. The algorithms change constantly, right? So, but coming back to YouTube Shorts, not enough people even know what it is or how to use it. So as a result, right now, if you post a short video on YouTube, it'll do really, really well, just because YouTube Shorts, they're trying to promote that feature of YouTube, right? But on average, you know, I remember, God, it was so sad. So when I started Dubai On Demand, it was very much like a content channel, and all the videos we created, like the advice we were given was like YouTube 2-minute videos, 2-3-minute videos. So we created like a catalog of content that was all 2-3-minute videos. And then I went to VidCon, which is like a conference for like the video industry in Amsterdam, and I was sitting there and these YouTube experts were on stage and they were like, yeah, the videos that perform best are like 16 to 18 minutes long, and I'm like, we've just produced a catalog of videos that are 2 to 3 minutes long. So it was such a frustrating situation, because you can't genuinely, it just changes all the time, so you can't really, you need to have a strategy that's quite agile, that allows you to adapt and change and leverage the platform that allows for that duration.
Yeah, so basically, it's like how I look from a different angle for this duration of the videos. For example, if you make a short video, as you said, like you just promote yourself, who you are, and try to grab the attention of the people. And then once they watch the short video, then they can
Correct.
switch to the longer video.
Correct.
But you need to create first the longer video and then make the shorts just to like kind of using for advertising.
Honestly, do whatever's faster and easier for you. Because if you get stuck on doing the long one, you may never do the short ones, you know, like the long ones take time. So I don't think it matters. Do whatever's easier for you to start with.
Like self-spot, right? You have this small
Correct.
bring them and then once they
Correct.
trust you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to quickly move forward. Everyone has their 3 tips or their body of the email. And is there anybody who, sorry, the script, is there anyone who wants to share it? Anyone ready to share their script so far? Yeah, go for it, Mohammed.
So, I see my title is streamer in less than 5 minutes.
Sorry?
Streamer in less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
The hook being how, have you ever wanted to start streaming but didn't know how? Obviously, the script. So the first time we like in this video, we will go over how to set up your channel and create your own band. But we'll also go over how to learn. No, we'll also learn how to set up the stream and learn how to record your content.
Okay. So,
Basically, summarize it basically an introduction of like what applications I need to get to essentially record the content and to create the channel and like start your stream and start your.
So I'm going to condense this, right? So I like your hook, and then I think that your next sentence after your hook should be, I'm Mohammed. I've recently set up my streaming platform, software, equipment, right? And I'm going to tell you the top 3 tools you need to get started. That's it. You know, don't go off and then automatically, tool 1, tell us what it is. Tool 2, tell us what it is. Tool 3, tell us what it is. Finish. You got it?
Yeah.
Okay. Everyone got that example? Great. And then the last thing you want to do, oh God, is have a call to action, right? So a call to action is telling them what you want to do after you've given them this information, right? So make sure to subscribe, or comment below, reach out to me for more, or book an appointment. You have a lot of YouTubers who put all of the call to actions in one and confuse everybody. You know, they go, call me, subscribe, put a message, and no, give them one. If you want an outcome, be clear on what that outcome is. So just pick one, pick the one. And that doesn't have to be the same one every time. This video, you might tell people comment below. The next video, if it's a bit more salesy, you might say, reach out to me, I want to help. The next one you might say DM me, but pick one, right? So one call to action is enough. Decide on the most important next step, and it can change in each video, right? So that's how you want to finish your video. So everyone clear on what their call to action is for their video? Like, what do you want people to do when they watch your video? Perfect, book an appointment. I like it. And I'm assuming the video will need to share your email address or something a way. Sorry?
You can download my book.
Amazing. But then you pick one. So like in the video, you either download the book or you book an appointment. Cool. Mita, what would yours be?
Why don't you just reach out to me if you need help?
Fine, right? So I'm going to quickly move forward because I'm conscious of time. I want to give everyone an opportunity to just try this. If you were doing this in the real world, you'd practice your script a few times, you know, you'd probably think about what you're wearing, you know, clothes matter, you'd think about the location, right? But I'm going to just, I want to give everyone 10 minutes to do this. So you're going to be in pairs and you have 5 minutes each. So for argument's sake, I'm guessing, I don't know if our friend is, but if you two want to work together, you two, I guess, you two are ready together. Perhaps when, I don't know if this gentleman's coming back, or you could work with Mita. And then my friend, you ready to do this? Priscilla, maybe you can step in with someone. This is what you're going to do, right? You have 10 minutes. 10 minutes, which means that everyone should be back here by 12:55. 10 minutes, right? 5 minutes each. What are a few things I want you to think about, right? Think about your script. Don't worry too much. Don't worry too much if you get it wrong. That's not the point. The point is I just want you to practice talking to the camera. I want you to practice your hook. You know, I want you to practice saying who you are. Even if all you do is say, you know, Bill Gates said that if he had his last dollar, he'd spend it on PR. I'm Mita, I'm a PR specialist, and I'd love to hear from you. Even if that's all you do, that's fine. The objective of this exercise is just to get you comfortable speaking on camera, right? So think about a few things to think about when you're choosing a location. Go do it anywhere. You don't have to stay in this room. Go do it anywhere, right? But some of the key things to think about when you're filming, are usually light. Light, sound, and framing, right? So when I say light, a lot of people, and you'll see it on Zoom, which is really frustrating, you know, they'll do things with the window behind them, right? And then suddenly they're dark. And I'm like, how did you not realize this, right? Anywhere there's a window, that is your light source, right? So if you find a window, you want to be facing the window, right? Because that's going to help you be well lit. You don't want to do this and have the light behind you and be black, right? So wherever you go, be conscious of where the light is. You want the light to be facing you. Yes, we're going to do it now. And then the second thing is sound, right? Sound. You don't want to go to places which are too noisy. There are so many people who film in coffee shops. I don't understand. Like they're standing, there are grinders, like, I can hear all that. I'm distracted. Yeah, but it's just like, sound is 50% of your viewing experience, right? Which means that if you ever do this professionally or decide to move forward with it more seriously, you need a microphone. Like microphones are essential to this process. For today, it's okay, but just be conscious. Like don't go stand in a busy area or stand next to the coffee pot, you know? And the third thing is framing. What do I mean by framing? Is there's something called headroom. Headroom is the space between the top of your head and the top of the frame, right? You see people whose like heads are like literally at the top of the frame, or like they've cut the head off, or it's like, you know, it's like, I'm like, why are you doing this, you know? Make sure there's like a thumb, put your thumb on the phone, at least the distance of your thumb in the top of the frame, and that's where the head should start. Clear? Okay, 10 minutes, 5 minutes each, 5 minutes one way, 5 minutes the other. Just on your phone, think about light, sound, and framing. Think about getting this message out quickly. So your videos are going to be under a minute. They might even be 30 seconds. It's fine. Chalo, jaldi, yalla.
tend not to be longer. Maybe I think that's also an important thing is time management. So you may think that your video is going to be under 1 minute, but it just turns out that it's longer because you haven't really managed the time.
But I think the key to that is keeping it simple. Yeah. Like keep it super simple. You know, the simpler it is, the faster it will go, and the message will come across. So try not to say too much. So I know you had a revelation where you realized you could have said it in 30 seconds, you know. So, but that's part of practice, right? And I think it helps having written it out because you know what the message you're trying to achieve. But then it doesn't really matter if you say it the way you've written it, right? The whole point is just to get those messages across. That's the point, right? And that someone learns something when they see your video. That's the point. Anyone else have any feedback for or thoughts? Yeah. So that's a key thing. So I want to give you a tip, especially if you're on your phone. Most people look at themselves. So like if you've got the camera, like if you're on your own, you know, you're going to be looking at yourself. Or if you're doing a webinar or a selfie or that means your eye line is not looking at your audience, right? So you need to try and look at where the dot is, where the lens is on your camera. If it helps you, cover the screen. Like put a post-it on the screen. Do whatever you can so you don't look down, but you look directly at the lens, right? So I think eye line it's a difficult one, but it's practice again. Practice to realize the person you're talking to is through the lens, right? Any other thoughts or feedback anyone had? I want to give you a few tips just based on what I've seen. Most of you had good headroom. By headroom, as I mentioned, it's a space between the top of your head and the top of the frame. Your headroom was great. Your headroom was great. Our friend at the back, if you look at your video, your head is in the middle. So I guess you were filming him, right? If you look at that, for some reason, he's in the middle of the frame. So you've got that whole space up above that isn't used, right? So just be conscious to fill the frame. And just, if you're unsure, put your thumb on your phone and just make sure you've got the distance of your thumb, right? So just check on framing. Sound is another one, right? Although your framing was great, you decided to do it outside. Okay, so automatically what you don't realize is the minute you go outdoors, you have traffic, you have wind, you have birds, you have planes, you have all this other ambient sound. And especially if you don't have a microphone, it's going to make it a little harder to hear what you're saying, and people are going to give up, right? So always try and find locations that you can control the environment as much as possible. I'll go as far as like finding out where the AC is, turning the AC. Don't underestimate the sound of an AC. You know, like what are the sounds that are in your control that you can like turn off and switch off. So don't go next to the traffic, or as I mentioned earlier, go next to the coffee pot. You know, so like find areas that you can control the sound. So those are the main things that I spotted. And some of you are a bit like, I don't know what my message is, I don't know what I'm saying. The purpose at this point in time is just to practice, right? So don't overthink it. Just get comfortable. The more you do it, the easier it will get. And then yes, once your objective is to sell or to promote, then we need to be a bit more structured with our message. And that's where hopefully I've given you a base structure of having that hook, the credibility sentence, your 3 steps, and a call to action. Keep it simple and keep it as something you can do consistently. Anyone have any questions? Yeah.
What about without music?
I think I'm a big believer, all videos need music. Even when people say, do I need it? Why do I need it? It's distracting. No, it's like your soundtrack to life. It's like it's just ambient, low underneath your content. It gives it pace, it gives it energy. So I believe in music, but not everyone, if you're doing videos on your own, I know you can do them, but not everyone is comfortable getting the track, editing, adding it. But yes, if you are able to, yes, do it. Next, there you go. So any other questions out there? Nothing? I'd love to hear any quick takeaways. Maybe if you all want to stand up, let's get some energy going. Stand up. So I'm a big believer in superpower posing. So I stand like this a lot. But I'd love to hear just one takeaway you've had from today's session. If you want to share what your takeaway is. What's your takeaway from today's session? Anything you've learned from today's session?
I understand basic a lot of things for video making.
Okay, so understood a few new basics.
About face, when you shoot video preview, you have to add your face. I know about it.
Okay, good. That's a good learning. What about you?
Basically, I also want to add that the basic structure, how you need to structure your video, that was the main takeaway. And plus also that in a cover of the video should be your face.
Your face. Yep.
You can convert more people.
Awesome, great. What was your takeaway?
There is several short ways to get access to filming the video, and the main thing that how to say how powerful could be the video to make your brand how to say
Visible.
famous.
Awesome, great. Mita.
For me, obviously, being in content, it was the content and scripting that really resonated with me. How to simplify it and drill it down to short content. That was very, very useful.
Awesome, great.
Yeah, so shortening the subject of the video is better.
Cool, good. That's a good takeaway.
Basically like having your content simple, on to point, and as well as like when you're recording like your gestures, your environment, all that.
Okay, good.
I think that like just pay a lot of attention to like the quality of the video, and kind of like what you need to make a successful video, but also that it's just like it won't really come out perfect in the first try, and that you have to like read the videos, shorten them, lengthen them, add more details, kind of like.
I think that's so important because a lot of people see the finished, polished videos online and they're like, oh my God, that's great. I can never do that. You have no idea how many times it took for them to get to that result. Yeah. No, it takes a lot of trial and error. Is there someone hiding behind you? No. Yes. Yes, you.
As long as you are an expert in the subject and you're passionate about it, your voice is your power and the way you deliver it can impact much your growth.
Absolutely. I love that because everyone here has an interest in something area, has expertise, something different. Everyone has expertise in a different area. Just embrace what you know because you're going to discover that's a topic you're passionate about and therefore it's going to be so much easier for you to create content on it.
Just putting your face out there, being genuine, like being a bit personal, allows you to have a great impact.
Yeah, don't be afraid to be personal. The more personal you are, especially right now, people are connecting with people more than anything else. So great. Yep.
Segueing into different segments of the paper, like the video, or transitioning into them, like I think I can do that.
Okay, good.
I like the way you split up the components of the video. It fits well in my like logic brain.
Logic brain. Good, good. I'm glad. So I'm hoping, and I'm hoping you got something out of this too. Yeah, okay. I'm hoping that everyone here realizes how easy this can be, right? And if you don't have the tech, you don't start on your phone. But I would say if you're doing it on your phone, invest in a microphone. Because that's at least make sure you've got good quality sound and hopefully you've got a few tips on how to choose a location. Make sure you're facing the window, you're paying attention to ambient sound around you. On that note, I just want to conclude by saying, you know, this is what we do. We do a lot of workshops. We help a lot of people get started with video. If it is something you're interested in, we have like monthly workshops that we run. You can have a chat with the team. Priscilla, this is Priscilla and Mustafa, by the way. They're from my team, so who've joined us on a Saturday. But they can answer any questions if this is something you need help with, or you're ready to take this more seriously, or you want to do video consistently. And we have actually put together a special offer for assembly friends who are here, so I'll let her tell you more about that. But I just want to say thank you so much. And if you are, let me see, if you are ready to figure out what you want to be famous for, you can reach me. Those are my details. I would be happy to help you, happy to answer any questions you have, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, online friends.